So I'm going to attend an event. What I need is a flyer to promote my pet photography business. I'm looking for a solution to print these flyers out relatively fast and relatively cheap. In this case, what I'm going to do is turn to my color laser printer that I have in my studio. I happen to have an HP here. Now here's the case. If you have print with a color laser printer before, you may have found out that what you're seeing on your screen is entirely different to what you get from the color laser printer. In my situation here, I have my MacBook Pro. This is fully color managed. The screen has been calibrated. I also have my reference display. This is the BenQ SW270C hardware calibrated display that I will do all my flyer design, image color editing on, so I know the color is going to be accurate here because I have calibrated it. But the thing is that when I print it out without color management here, the print is going to look terrible. So what I'm going to do in this video is talk about a solution, how we can solve that problem. In this case, I'm going to use the i1Studio to color profile my printer, but the i1Studio happens to be a color spectrophotometer. So what that means is that it will not only just calibrate the printer, it can also be used to calibrate screens too. But in this video, we're going to focus on how to calibrate our color laser printer to get the best color possible when you're editing on these fully color managed screen. I'm Art1, I'm an X-Rite Colorati, and let's get started. So what I'm going to do here is print this out without any color management, using all the default setting from InDesign first, and let's see how our print comes out from the color laser printer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now we have the printing dialog here. Where I'm going to focus on is under color management. I'm going to leave this at default right now. The default right now under color handling is that let InDesign determine colors. That's always a great sign. The next thing is printer profile. Right now it's set to RGB or sRGB for this matter, document sRGB. So let's go ahead and try to print that out and we'll see how this comes out and how it looks. So print's going to come out right now. We're going to give it a moment. So now I have my flyer printed out. Now, if you see the colors on the screen right now, you will see that the dogs, they look much more lively, much more alive. In fact, a lot of the whites here are turning kind of cyan, turning purple. And I'll kind of put this here so that our other cameras can see it. Now, this is not color managed properly at all. It doesn't even look good. But the thing is that the color laser printer here does not ship with a color profile. So you can't really go and pick a color profile to print it with. So now that we see the print colors off here, what I'm going to do is pull out the i1Studio so that we can start a calibration process. Let's go ahead and take the i1Studio out of the box. Close this up. We'll set the box aside. So the i1Studio will come with a USB cable. This is what you're going to need to link an i1Studio up to a computer. And the other thing too is that the i1Studio will also come with this, kind of like a holder for it. Now this holder is used when you need to hang the i1 profiler from a display to do a display calibration. But in our situation here, the case doesn't really do us any good because what we need to is to expose this bottom part of the i1 profiler to do the print calibration or print profiling. So we're also going to set that aside. All right, now that we have this going, what I'm going to do is take the cable and we're going to plug it into the i1Studio like so. And then we're going to plug this into a USB port. Now the nice thing about the BenQ display is that it has two USB ports on the side. There are USB Type A, the generic one that we've been used to for all this time. On my laptop though, the MacBook Pro is all USB Type C, so I need to use an adapter. So in this case, this screen makes it really easy for me just to plug it in right away. Alright, so now that I have the i1Studio plug-in, what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and minimize our InDesign because we don't need that up anymore. And what I'm going to go do is call up the i1Studio. So now that I have the i1Studio Connect, it's going to ask me like, please select your measuring device and connect to it. So I'm going to go ahead and click the i1Studio here, or what you can see there. And let's go ahead and do a color print. So now that I have the i1Studio launch, I already select the workflow for color print. This is what it looks like. So a couple of things. The number one thing we're going to have to do first is go ahead and select our printer. In this case, I'm going to select the HP, and this is the HP 281, so I'm going to go ahead and select that printer. I'm going to go ahead and select a paper size. In this case, I'm using an 8.5 by 11 standard paper size to make life really easy. Now here's the case. On certain printers, depending on what printers you have, sometimes you can even go as large as like a roll paper, and you can pick the paper size that will fit onto it. But in this case, we're really using a home office printer, and 8.5 by 11 is going to be the right size here. So we're going to leave it at that. Now the paper description, I'm just going to call this one plain paper. This is just the stock paper I use in my printer. It's nothing special. It's not even cardstock. So we're just going to use it plain paper. And what I'm going to do next is go ahead and click on print. Now when you click on print here, this will pull up the printer service dialog, as you can kind of see here. One of the best things that you can do here is go ahead and click on show detail. When you do that, it will give you much more information about your printer. So I'm going to go ahead and explore a few things. Number one thing, like from the middle here, I'm going to go ahead and first select color matching. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to make sure that those options are grayed out. This way, the printer is not doing any color management at all for these color patches or for these profile pages that I'm going to print out. Now you want to make sure that there's no color going on there so that it doesn't actually bias the color strip that's going to be printing out from the printer. The next thing what I'm going to do here is go ahead and click on the other subsection, color. Now the thing here is that it has right there HP Easy Color. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. And in this case, I'm going to go say RGB color. We're going to go ahead and say none for now. Edge color, we'll leave it at normal. The rest, I'm just going to kind of leave it at default. So what I am doing here is disabling all of the printer color controls. This way the color patch that we're printing out will be the most accurate. And by most accurate, I mean the most native this printer can print out without any color bias or color adjustment on top. All right. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and click on print. Now what this is going to do is that it will print out 2 of these sheets. And then what we're going to do then is use the i1Studio to scan it. So we'll wait for these sheets to print out for a moment here. So that's what a color checker sheet looks like when it's printing out from the printer. And by the way, I said 2 earlier, it's really just one sheet for 8.5 by 11 here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put that sheet down. Now a couple of things about these sheets is that there are roll numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it also tells you the printer name and everything, if you've done color management or not. But what we're going to do here is go ahead and jump back into the i1Studio software and click on Next. Now, before we can actually go and start measuring colors, what we need to do, and what the program is telling us to do right now, is to calibrate our color spectrophotometer. So in this case, what I need to do is dial this so that it actually goes into that corner, according to the software is saying the same thing. So I'm going to move that there. Now on the back part of the i1Studio, there's a button. That is a button. So what I'm going to do there is press on it. And now that I have pressed on that button, it's going to calibrate my color spectrophotometer. The nice part about the color spectrophotometer is that it always has its own individual white point that's calibrated specifically to this reader, which is really great. All right, so now that we have calibrated our color spectrophotometer, what I'm going to do is dial this back into the reading position. So now that I rotate this back, what you can see here on the bottom, if I go ahead and press the measurement button, is that there's an LED light source that's actually illuminating the viewport. The viewport there, inside there is a sensor that will measure the color. That LED is actually doing the job of illuminating the source, whatever that may be, so that when we put it down on a paper like this, it's going to be totally dark. That LED is the only light source that's illuminating this, and that's how we measure it. So the software right now is telling us to measure strip number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I will show you how to do that. Now the thing is that the software is also telling us that please allow the test chart to dry before scanning. 10 minutes is the recommended time. What it's trying to tell you here is that this is for inkjet printer. You want to wait for the print to dry if you're using an inkjet printer. In this case, I'm using a powdered form ink, or toner in this case, that's been kind of fused to the paper. So I don't really have to worry about smearing anything like that at all. So that means I can scan right away. Now, again, FYI, if you're using an inkjet printer, do wait for at least 10 minutes for the ink to really dry down. All right, let's start our measurement. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and line up making sure that the center here, the reader, is actually before it, it starts around here, so that it reads the blank part of the paper first. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and press and hold the button on the back side here, and I'm just going to drag this across slowly, just like so. Now you can kind of see that it's responding on the 1iStudio software saying, hey, we read all these values already. Let's move on to the next column. Now what I'm going to do here is show you what happened if you decide to go crazy like a race car driver on a color test chart. So let's go through it really fast. See, it's giving us an error saying that invalid measurement. It expects to see 10 patches, but it only sees 6. I mean, this number can vary, but obviously what that's telling us is that we're going through this too fast. So let's go a little bit slower this time. Now you can go at a moderate pace like this. You don't have to go like really slowly, like one patch at a time, because that would be crazy. But you shouldn't just slide it through really fast either. So kind of moderation is the key here. So let's continue. And as long as you keep them relatively in the middle of the patches, you will be fine. So let's go on to the next one. That measures, that took, and we're going to go through the last one right now. Okay, so we are now on the last row. So now we have got that in, we're going to go ahead and click on next. What it's doing is that it's taking all of these values that it just read and is making a second patch set that is going to print out based on this chart, based on how this chart reads out. Part of this is what we call iterative profiling. That means that it's taking the value, what it's finding here, and it's fine-tuning those values of what values in here are really weak, and is using those to calculate the second test chart. Now what I'm going to do here is go ahead and click on print again. And it's going to also, again, pull up the printer service dialog, to which I'm going to go in under color matching, make sure that it's grayed out. And then I'm also going to go in under color here and again, take out HP Color and also set that to none. And then I'm going to go ahead and print this out. Again, we're disabling all the color management from the printer side. This way it doesn't bias these color patches. So we'll wait for the print to come out. And then after this, we're going to click on next and do the second measurement. There we have it. This is our second color patch that has printed out from this printer. Now the nice thing about the 1iStudio too that I should mention is that if you have a smaller paper, for example a 4x6, a 5x7 paper, it will also print out color patches for those smaller papers too. It's just that you're going to need a lot of pages for it to print on. But it can do that too. So just an FYI there. So we're going to put this one to the side. This is our second color patch. So let's start measuring it, shall we? So now what I'm going to do is click on next. Start kind of right a little bit on the white. Press and hold the button. Slowly slide it across like so. Move on to the second row. Press on the white, hold, and then drag it across. Now you can kind of move in and out of the line a little bit there. As long as, again, you're relatively on these patches, you will be okay. Let's continue here. It's taking all those values in. Let's try 2 more. That's good. And the last one, press hold, and when you reach the end, just release. All right, so we have our second patch reading in. Now what happened is we can now name this paper. So what I'm going to do is that this name is way too long because it includes a date and the time of the profile and everything. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to condense down the name so that I just say plain paper, and it just, put down my printer name right there. just like so. We'll put a space there, boom. So because I'm using a Mac, I'm going to keep the ICC version 4. And I think that even if you're using a PC, in this case, you can also use ICC version 4 too, because this is not a display profile. Usually version 2 becomes a problem with display profile. But again, if you're using a PC, if it doesn't look right for some reason, you can always try to use the ICC version 2 in this case. So we're going to do that, and we're going to go ahead and click on Save Profile. i1Studio now is going to generate a profile. An ICC profile is automatically going to put it into the color sync folder on the Macintosh, or if you're on a PC, you'll put it on the right location too. So we're just going to wait here for it to calculate all these results up. It's summing up. There's a percentage that is showing on the workflow towards the bottom of the screen there, and it says the profile was created. Perfect. So what we're going to do now is let's go back to InDesign. Let's go back to my design, the flyer that I have, and let's see how it would print with this color profile. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and press Command P for printing, and we're going to go ahead and zoom on the print dialog box here, and we're going to control a few things. So again, we're going to come in, and primarily I'm not going to worry about anything else in this case, but I'm going to focus on color management first. So in color management, what I'm going to do here is go ahead and click on the printer profile. Now, right on top here, it says let InDesign determine color. That's a great setting because you want InDesign to kind of control the color output in this case. But right below there under printer profile, what I am going to do here is I am going to try to find my profile. Now, if I scroll up a little bit, you can see that I have the HP Color LaserJet MFP281 plain paper. That's the profile paper name that I gave it, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So let's go ahead and zoom out here a little bit. So I already have set in the printer profile, or in this case, our color laser printer profile in the InDesign color management dialog. Now, in the past, what I have found out is that if I continue to go ahead and click print right away, even though I have the right setting dial in here, the profile and everything set it so that InDesign determines colors, I've found out in the past with my Epson inkjet software is that InDesign doesn't really go in and disable the printer software, in this case, the printer driver color management. So what I'm going to do here is take caution, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom into this dialog one more time, and go ahead and click on printer right at the bottom there. Now InDesign is going to be mad. It's going to say, warning, if the desired print setting is available in InDesign print dialog box, please set it there to avoid printing conflict. Well, the problem is that InDesign's not really doing a good job. In fact, there's probably a bug in the printing dialog that's causing it to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK, and this will pop up our printer service dialog. Now, when this pops up, the first thing I'm going to do here is go in under color matching. So color matching, sometimes like what happened is that it will show up as automatic like that. This is when it's not showing up properly. Now, I have already gone in and changed some of the settings here so it's showing up the right color. But in this case, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and select my plain paper profile here. Now, if this doesn't show up for some reason, what you have to do is come to the bottom here and click under Other, and then scroll down to the paper profile there. Click, press OK, and then it will choose that. That's not the only place though that we have to go in and make sure that this is set properly. The next thing what I'm going to do now is click on the middle, right there under color matching, and then go down to color. So in color here, many times when you first click on it, it's going to show us something like what we see on our screen right now. HP Easy Color is checked and everything else is grayed out. So in this case, what I want to do is disable HP Easy Color because HP Easy Color is doing color management on top of what I'm already managing in my profile. And under RGB profile here, or excuse me, under RGB color, what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on None. So it's not using any of the printer RGB data at all. This way, I'm not getting any bias. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. After I'm done with these two, I'm going to go ahead and click on Print. Now, before I do that, I want to give you guys a quick anecdote here, is that if you have to come and change these settings every time, it can be really annoying. So under the Preset tab right on top there, what you can do is that you can come in here and say, Save Current Setting as Preset. And you can name it, for example, Color Laser printing color management, or whatever that may be. You can give it a name that you want, and you can come and select that every time. This way you don't have to come and dial in all these settings. For now, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at the way how the default setting is. I'm going to go ahead and click on print. And now what I'm going to do is make sure that my printer profile is set here, and I'm going to go ahead and click on print. So now it's going to print out this flyer through my color laser printer, and let's see how it looks. So as we can kind of see here in the print comparison before and after, the before, we can see that the white is really going kind of blue. It's going kind of purple a little bit. The color of this dog is totally off. That dog is totally off. After color management though, with profile, look at that. The white is now truly white. That dog looks like a real dog and not a fake print dog in the paper. The other thing too is we can kind of see our other dog here too, our Frenchie. That's looking really great there. So you can kind of see the color comparison between the two. Now, this is only a glimpse into color management. I get excited when I talk about these things. I think that for us to be able to go in, color profile, and manage a color on a color laser printer printout, it's fantastic. It's just really awesome. So anyway, I hope that you find this video helpful. At least if you have a color laser printer, you can calibrate it. But again, if you imagine this though, the principles that I've talked about in this video is the same, whether you have a color laser printer or a color inkjet printer for that matter. So I hope that you find this video educational and helpful. If you haven't yet, please like my video, please subscribe to my channel, and also hit on the notification bell so that you will be updated every time I upload cool color management video like this. And until next time, art is right. What I need to do is print out these flyers relatively fast and quick. This is going to be a long day.
Relatively fast,
okay.
And cheap.
Yes. And there's a printing error.
Can I stop you?
Sure.
Okay.
What we really need is this device and the USB cable that comes with it. Alright, you just killed that.
That was a mess.
Okay, fine, we won't unbox it. And it will also come with this. Now this whole device is actually for you to use the 1iStudio to...
Just start over. Put it back in the box.
Oh man, this is going to be the total boxing thing. Damn box! Should have give up on the box in the first place. The box. This box could be ASMR.